What the finance? Oh, wallet romance. Welcome to the 21-day money challenge, an initiative to help and grow your money as much as you can. Use these tips, tricks, and tools in your personal finance as well as your business finance. Share your journey and remember, you're not alone. Show some love by smashing the thumbs up button so that it can reach more people and do comment on your progress. Are you ready? Let's get started for today. Day 5 of the 21-day money challenge is right here. So, normally, when you want to start something, you sometimes have a challenge coming your way, right? And especially if you're taking up a 21-day money challenge, there are a lot of probabilities that some other challenge comes in for this challenge itself, isn't it? So, what does one do when they have a challenge coming their way? So let's talk about that today. And as usual, let's take some inspiration from Sid's story. So let's see what Sid did and how did he manage to overcome some of the challenges that he faced. So Sid, like we know, he was, quite determined and he wanted to achieve, his financial goals that he had set for himself and the specific financial targets that he had set for himself. And of course, he started working towards it. But oops, something happened that seemed to be a bit of a challenge from Sid attaining his financial goals. So, although Sid had made up his mind towards these goals, what happened was some unexpected challenges came in his way and Sid wasn't prepared for it. So, what cropped up? The unexpected thing was unfortunately Sid had to incur some medical expenses. And this was, of course, not within his control. But beyond that, what happened? Sid forgot to pay his credit card dues. And that resulted in a whooping interest. So the principal and the interest he had to pay. So both of these were something Sid hadn't anticipated. And of course, while the medical expenses was not directly under his control, he realized if he was a little more systematic and if he had planned himself better and he had reminded himself, he could have very well avoided the credit card, the interest, which is pretty huge on whatever he had spent. So both these expenses unexpectedly, started to pull Sid down, but he was determined not to give up. So he was definitely wanting to double up and, get over this particular phase, which he was hoping would be temporary. So, to make up for it, he decided that he would cut down on his other expenses as much as possible, but at the same time, he didn't want to compromise on the way of his lifestyle as well. So, he realized for him to strike this right balance, he had to live within his means, right, as much as possible and not outlive it by taking loans and taking advances from his employer and his family and friends. So he decided to see how best he should manage to live within his means of whatever he was earning, and then after paying all these expenses. So Sid, what he did, he decided to take some action towards this. And he told himself that he would curtail all his unnecessary and unwanted expenses as much as possible, from little things like cutting on those extra knickknacks, the juices and eating out, to he also decided, he Sid was a shopping buff, so he said he could do away without those extra pair of shoes or those jeans, and all the online shopping. He decided to curb himself. So he decided that unless he takes little steps, he will not be able to achieve his bigger financial goals. So he started planning and programming himself and taking necessary actions towards the steps that he had to take. So he listed down where all it was possible for him to cut his corners, and most importantly, Sid learned to differentiate between his needs and wants, as well as comforts and luxuries. So the decision Sid took was he will not compromise on his needs as well as on the comforts, but he would shelve his wants as well as his luxuries, luxuries that he had planned for himself. He would temporarily shelve them till his financial situation gets a little better. So this was a conscious call that Sid took towards his financial goal despite the challenges that he faced. And regarding his credit card, you know what he did? A very simple technique. He didn't want to repeat this again going forward. So he put up, as a reminder, he put up sticky notes all over, especially on his computer and then on his desk, as well as some reminders on his mobile and everything. So he said, I'm not going to be wasting my money on paying stuff like the interest on my delayed credit card payments because of my mistakes. So he started taking action towards how he can rectify and correct his mistakes, right? So this was the little steps that Sid did. What about you? I don't know if you have any challenges right now, but if you are potentially faced with any challenges, what are the steps you are planning to take? You must be prepared and geared so that these unexpected challenges don't bog you down. All right. So it's always better to be forearmed and be prepared and geared up for taking such precautionary steps ahead of any anticipated challenges. So, like you have guessed, you'll have to come up with the activities and the exercise for you, and you know what it is, of course. This could be easier said than done, but it's essential that you are prepared for it. So, my friends, pull out the pen and paper and write down, if you were to be faced with any unexpected challenges like Sid, how are you planning to overcome it, right? And if you are also a person like Sid, who forgets to make the payments on time, it could be anything. Credit card was just an example. You may probably want to look at creating a checklist of the due dates and the payments, or anything that works well for you. Some sort of a trigger that will help you be a lot more planned in what you do, right? So that you don't waste your hard earned money, right? So do that, and I will catch you tomorrow on day 6. And there's something interesting for you tomorrow. So until we meet tomorrow, it's bye from me, Sangeeta.